Everybody, James Corbett here with Project Refit, FML, or usually that means fuck my life, but in this case it means for my life. And as always, I'm going to have to wait for Instagram to catch up. And once it does, we're really going to get this thing started. So here we go. I'm going to go live. All right. So I am now live on Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn, all over the place. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in with us today. This is James Corbett, Project Refit. This is FML, which usually means fuck my life, but in this case, it means for my life. So we do have a guest. His name is Brian Dean. He's going to be jumping in with us. He's going to be talking to us about his background, his story, talk about the organization that he's with currently, and just get into all those little nitty gritty, conversations and details that I like to ask, and usually makes for a really good conversation. And I believe this might be one of the first times he's ever done something like this. So let's be nice to him and help him out through the process. That being said, I'm going to bring you on. What's up, Brian? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, James. How are you?
Good, man. I'm good. So let's keep it real conversational. Like I was telling you, there's no difference between what you and I were really doing earlier and chatting, shooting the shit, and what we're going to do here. So we do have some guests that do pop in sometimes, and they do say hi and offer feedback and things like that they're hearing, and maybe even spark up questions and other things that we get to answer. But that doesn't happen always, but it does sometimes. Now, you will not be able to see some comments that are on Instagram. Instagram, it's just for some reason doesn't feed over to our chat here on the side. But if something does pop up and they ask a question, I will let you know what it is, and we can get into that if it's relevant. So that being said, who are you? Tell us about Brian.
My name is Brian Dean. I live in the panhandle of Florida, specifically Navarre. I just retired from the Air Force 2 years ago. Spent 20 years doing, we call it ammo. Joined in 2003, and I went to Mountain Home Air Force Base, Idaho, with my wife. She was active duty at the time as well. We PCS'd over to Aviano. We were there for 4 years, went back to Mountain Home. She got out, and we stayed there for about 6 years, and then I PCS'd over to Daegu, South Korea. From there, just did a year, and then came to Hurlburt Field, Florida for the last almost 7 years of my career.
Oh, very nice. That's great.
Yeah.
So with all of your experience in the military, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you did while you're in, and how about one of your favorite memories?
Oh man, there's a lot of favorite memories. Honestly, as far as memories go, it was meeting a lot of the people that I did. So I can't really nail it down to one specific memory. But my job in the Air Force was to test, maintain, build up, store, and deliver all the munitions that went on all the aircraft. I specifically worked with the F-16s, the F-15s, and the AC-130 gunships. I did try and get out of that, and I tried to go over and be one of the cool guys doing TAC-P and combat control, but it just never worked out for me. But that's okay. I met some really awesome individuals there as well.
I'm sure you did. They're very interesting people, guys that get into special forces. They're always good for, their mental state and how they think, how they're driven, and all that good stuff. So I'm sure you learned a lot from them. Did you learn anything like advice wise from them, or just things that you picked up on?
Nothing that I didn't really already have in my toolkit, honestly. Just really leading with empathy. That's one of the best things that I took away.
What does that mean?
To be empathetic to another individual's plight, stuff that they're going through. It allows you to be able to look through their eyes while also looking at the bigger picture, so you can help them achieve their goals while getting the mission done.
That's a challenge.
It can be.
Yeah. How did you, do you think you effectively did that for a lot of people? If so, how did you do it? How did you do it?
A lot of times I would just try and put myself in their shoes. A lot of the times I was in their shoes. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be the special warfare side of the house. It was just basic military life. but yeah, being in their shoes and understanding what they were facing, and then turning around and being able to help stop some of the shit from rolling downhill so that they could just focus on the big picture.
Yeah. Like when you do that though, when you're in those tough conversations, like what's something that you found was really successful when you're having those conversations?
Mm. Validating their experience and just acknowledging that, you call a spade, you don't sugarcoat it. And it just, you share stories like, yo, man, this is a really tough situation. I understand you don't want to do this. I've had to do this myself. This is how we can go about changing the course of thinking about it to get the job done while it still sucks.
Right. Right. Did you ever tap into like past experiences for yourself and how you wish you were spoken to?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Okay. So that's a vehicle. So what did that look like? Like, how did you treat that? What did you learn? What was something you went through that you're like, I'm never going to talk to anybody like that?
Talking down to people. I did my damnedest not to talk down to people. I did use a lot of tough love approach with a lot of things. It wasn't always the best approach for everybody. Um, and it wasn't until I was like an NCO for a while that I eased up on some of that tough love approach. I probably within my last 2 years being in, I really softened up, especially with some of the new kids coming. Oh man, some of these kids coming in, and I do say kids for the simple fact that some of them were only about a year older than my oldest daughter at the time. So I was like,
Sure.
oh man. But yeah, I really changed. I was still stern, but it wasn't necessarily this kind of like hammer coming down on people.
Right. Like you kind of like wanted to really listen to them and then find a way or an opening to get the point across,
Yes,
without shitting on them totally and entirely.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure
There
that's
was,
really tough.
yeah, keep going.
No, I'd say I'm sure it's really tough, but go ahead, share your story.
There was one story I can think of. The guy's name was Bobby Boyer. I love this dude. He was awesome. We were doing a job, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go see what everybody's doing for lunch." I was like, "Okay, cool." And then he actually left with everybody for lunch. But in our job, we've got these crew books, and we have to fill everything out and say when we're actually leaving the job, so that we have accountability of everybody. That way, if there's an explosion or something like that, some sort of emergency that happens, we know exactly where to go, who we're taking with us. But he just kind of bounced on us that day. And then ultimately, the rest of my crew wound up going to lunch, and I saw him, and he was sitting with some other NCOs and other airmen. And it may not have been the best approach, but I did kind of drop a hammer on him. Came up while I was sitting there eating with everybody. I was like, "Hey, man, thanks for letting us know that you left the operation so that we could have accountability." And I patted him on the back and just walked away. And then you
Mm,
could just see him like, oh. And I kind of let it go for a little bit. And about an hour or so later, I found him again. I pulled him off to the side and was like, "Hey, dude, you can't do that sort of stuff. This is why you can't do it." And then just built him back up into being better than that situation.
yeah. Yeah, that's tough too, especially doing that like, in front of all those people as well. But I'm sure looking back on it, you're probably like, I probably should have pulled him aside or something. If I know who you are at this point.
Yeah, I probably should have taken him off to the side. It didn't need to happen in front of his peers. Didn't need to happen in
Yeah,
front of another NCO. That other NCO did
right.
talk to me. He's like, "Dude, I totally get it, but yeah, you should have taken him off to the side."
Yeah, yeah. That's something that it's growing pains of leadership, right? Learning how
Oh,
to
absolutely.
communicate better with people and take better care of people and things like that. It is a constant learning journey for anybody in a leadership position. So that's a
Yeah,
good takeaway, at least for yourself.
you
You
take
learn
the
something out of
good and
that.
the yeah, take the good and the bad. The way people talk to you that you don't like, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm never going to do that with somebody. I'm not going to do this. And
Yeah.
then you take everything else that you loved about the good leaders. Oh man, this one dude, I, one of my favorite shop chiefs. Guy's name was Jeff Leese. He would show up early so he could meet our mid shift, hang out with them for a little bit. He'd be there for day shift, and then he would stay late so he could see our swing shift guys. So he made contact with absolutely everybody. And then when we would go to him with questions or concerns, he'd be like, okay, well, what did you look at to get to this point right here? And from there, we'd kind of give him a little bit of a story of how we got there. And he's like, all right, have you thought about this yet? He didn't give us the answer. He kind of got you to the point like, oh, crap, yeah, I didn't think about that one. And then we'd go off, and then, man, he was just an amazing teacher in that regard. And I
Yeah,
took a lot
that's
of that
cool.
with me.
I like that a lot. That's actually that's fantastic. That's really good. So instead of talking to you, he was really helping guide you to an answer that you
Absolutely.
could come up with on your own.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's neat. I like that a lot. That's a good approach. That's a very good approach. Effective too, I'm sure, in terms of trust.
Oh, yeah. That was huge because we knew that he knew what he was talking about. And we also knew that he always had our backs. We did actually have some guys that would they messed up pretty bad, but because they came to him like, hey, Sergeant Lease, this is what happened. And he'd be like, okay, well, let's go face the fight. And he'd fucking go to bat for those guys, even though they were wrong. Like, I understand he's wrong, but this is what happened. This is why it happened. And he was at times able to mitigate some of the severity of the punishment that was coming down for them. And that went a
Right.
long way.
Yeah, I like that approach because it's like he's actually helping you to he's helping to coach even into the problem solving. You know, this is how we're going to treat this as a learning experience for that airman or that airwoman, and really guide them to never do that again. They realize that they messed up and all that stuff, and this is our plan of action to help that person, you know, not make that same mistake again. That's what I'm
Yeah,
hearing, at least when you share that experience. That's cool.
totally.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Dude, tell me what got you into your nonprofit that you're working with now, and you know, what led you down this path? Like what kind of shit did you go through and that led you to this?
So I got my degree in sports and health science through American Military University. My ultimate goal was to become a strength and conditioning coach. I wanted to be able to go back on base and work with some of the other active duty members. So I got an internship through Exos, like I told you about earlier in our conversation. Exos is a human performance center, and they focus on the college kids getting ready to go off into the pros, and they work with the pros from like a multitude of different sports. But while I was there, I learned about the accelerated return to duty program, which helps a lot of our tier 1 through tier 3 operators get back out into the fight. And somebody was actually wearing one of these shields and stripes shirts. So I asked him about it, and he put me in touch with one of the strength coaches that was kind of visiting from Arizona. And then he put me in touch with the the co-founders of Shields and Stripes. And I had a conversation with them, and they're like, hey, we'd love to have you come on board. And I didn't look back. I jumped into it because it deals not only with the physical domain of helping people get better, but the mental health aspect as well. And my last year in the military, I started going to mental health because I had hit a point to where, so it was that retraining aspect. The last time I tried and failed, it was the absolute last time. So it really kind of messed with me. And then one day I got out of the pool because that was my Zen moment for the day. I'd go swim, got out of the pool, and I was just really freaking sad, and I couldn't figure out why. And then it started putting me back down a negative path that I had been down before. And I was like, oh man, this isn't good. So I called mental health that day, and then I started getting seen. I could also see where that was affecting my actions, and the way I was starting to play out into work, or it was bleeding over into work rather. And I could see that some of the airmen and some of the other NCOs were like, what the fuck's going on? So I just, I didn't verbal vomit on them, but I opened up about my mental health journey. and why I was there, what I was doing. And this
Mm.
is what has caused me or led me to be acting this way and feeling this way here at work. Um, and in doing that, man, they rallied around me like it was nobody's business. And I'll never be able to repay them for that. It was just awesome the way they supported me, and I loved it. So I became a big mental health advocate my last year in the military. And then when I found out that that's what Shields and Stripes was doing, because we help active duty members, veterans, and first responders heal from visible and non-visible wounds caused by traumatic events, and they take a really amazing holistic approach to doing this. And when I learned that, I was like, this is absolutely what I want to do with my
That's great.
life outside the military. It gave me purpose outside of my family, and it's amazing. I don't know where
That
I'd
is
be without
amazing.
doing this right now.
Can you tell me something that you said that I think I know what you're saying. You said your last attempt. You talking about suicide?
No, no. My last attempt at retraining. So I was an ammo guy, and we call it retraining. So you apply to go do a different job. And when it comes to Air Force Special Warfare, you got to take certain tests, and then once you pass that, and then you go to the actual facility, not the facility, but like Medina, Texas, where they do a lot of the training. You go there, and you have to take more tests. Well, I didn't do so hot, and it really bummed me out to the point that, yeah, it did kind of put me back into a mindset of suicide. Um,
Mm,
really deep moment when I
yeah.
was 9 years old. My best friend at the time was 8. He died he was run over by a truck, and it really messed with me. My folks kind of split, and then my sister, my mom, and I moved up to Green Bay, Wisconsin. My dad got orders back down to Florida. We were up there for a couple of years, so I had that getting jerked around. I lost my family as I knew it. I lost all my friends because I had to move. I had this death, the very first human death that I had ever experienced, weighing heavily on my mind. I didn't know how to talk about it because I didn't know what I was feeling. But
Sure.
looking back, I was so depressed for years. And then finally made some friends up there. They called me out on like, hey, why are you walking with your head down all the time? And I was like, I don't know. I did
Mm,
know, but I just didn't know how to explain it to them.
mhm,
And then
mhm.
ultimately we wound up moving. So I lost all my friends again.
Right.
Came back down to Florida, and I started middle school. And I don't know what your middle school journey was like, but mine was kind of hellacious. And then 7th grade is when I made an attempt on my life. I tried to hang myself. Um, the only thing that actually stopped me was the fact that I heard my parents walk through the door, and I didn't want to have them stop me and then me be in trouble or anything like that. So I was able to get out of it. Um, yeah, so stuffed all that stuff down for a really, really long time, like 30 something years. And that last retraining attempt, when that ended, it's kind of like a scab, right?
Yep.
Retraining was a scab on a wound, and it got brushed off or picked off. And then the blood was all the trauma, and everything just came right back to the surface.
Right. That is very, 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 very challenging. Um, was it like a sense of worth that you felt like you didn't have or something like that?
Man, I feel like a huge failure, like and just an absolute utter failure when I came back from that last retraining attempt. There was a
Yeah.
lot that was going on there mentally. Honestly, this is probably one of the first times I've ever talked about this, and now going to be on a massive scale.
People
um,
out.
yeah, but I kind of lost where I was at, man. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You were about to talk about the scab, the blood, the trauma, how it was pouring out, and your last retraining attempt brought it up. And
Yeah. And that's when I made the call to go to mental health, and started getting treatment there. There's still some days where I don't entirely know what's going on in my head. I don't understand how to talk about it, but I still work it out with my wife from time to time, and then I go and see a mental health therapist as well.
I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Do you ever feel like, because it kind of goes into what you're about to get into, how you feel like a failure and you feel like you don't have you're not going after your full purpose and what you really wanted in some ways. I feel like you're looking behind you, wanted to do with your life, and it's like this empty hole, this emptiness that you feel that isn't really filled. It's a void. You're about to talk about that. Does that help you out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hit it, dude.
Um, yeah, it that sense of purpose was gone. Um,
Do you feel like it's still gone?
no,
Awesome. How did you do it?
I found Shields and Stripes, and then realized.
Cool.
So when I started going to mental health, and talking to my airman about it, I was like, okay, I have a desire and a passion for this. I had one of my NCOs. I was his direct supervisor right before he left because he PCS'd to Korea and then Aviano. He was like, man, I'm so thankful that you opened up and talked about this because there was so much about mental health I didn't know that I needed to know. And you were the catalyst for that. And that really stayed with me a lot. So when I found Shields and Stripes and found that they were all about mental health and a holistic approach to healing, I wanted to be a part of it. And it gave me a sense of purpose to the point that I can do things for other people that make me happy.
I love it. That's really cool. When I hear you say that, I feel like there's still some things that there's gaps or whatever in the story, but that's okay because this isn't, if you don't feel comfortable sharing it, I don't want you to feel pressured at all.
What kind of
But I
gap do you
will
think
say
there is?
there was I'm not gonna get into that on this because I don't want to like force or push anything. But
Oh, dude, I'm an open book.
so let me say this and then I'll get to that. So there's uh there's something about you and what you're talking about and how you found your way to use your pain, right? Use the pain, you use the suffering that you were going through to then dump into other people. And I think that's amazing. And I think it's something that a lot of people don't look at the opportunities in the moment of their pain, or they don't see in the moment of the pain the opportunity of the future and the hope that they'll be able to pass on how they got through whatever they went through to help somebody else out going through something similar to get through it themselves. So that's something we talk about a lot here at Refit. It's actually the 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 pain and purpose is the ink to the pen that writes the story of your life, right? So life in itself is an adventure. So you have to live the adventure of your life literally and share the story, all the story, right? And it's a valuable thing. The story that you're living is something that's incredibly valuable. And it seems like you're doing that and you're finding a way to share that story. As for the gap, what I'm referring to is you went from I was going through this really tough time and then I got into mental health and it's like, okay, what's in that tough time? Like what was actually happening to you in that? Like, what were you thinking about? Like, what was actually going on? Like, were you in it? Were you in the pool and you're like, I want to drown right now. Like I'm going to plan out how I'm going to drown right here and like tie fucking cement blocks to myself and I won't be able to get out. Right. Like what was that fight that you went through that you conquered to at least get to the therapist. And then you were like, I want hope and I want to find a way out of this shit. Like that's what I meant by the gap. And if you don't want to share
Okay, I
that part
got
of
you.
the story, it's okay.
No, I have no problems with it. No, it wasn't in the water. So for me, when
Okay.
I'm swimming, doing laps, it's just all about being in the water. It feels good. It's kind of like being able to turn my brain off.
Hell yeah.
It was when I got out of the pool. And so I used to do a lot of training. There was a small group of us that would always train to get ready to go do retraining, go after those special T type jobs. And I think it was after I got out of the pool because it was just me that I realized, man, all my buddies aren't here. They're like off doing whatever. And that may have actually been what kind of was a catalyst for feeling the way I did. And as far as feeling that way again, it was a matter of, I don't like this. I don't like where this is about to go. I need to call for help. Um,
Yeah.
Kind of a hard call to make sometimes, but because when they asked, I'm like, hey, what do you need to be seen for? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just really sad and I don't know why. I don't like the way I'm feeling. And they're like, okay, we got you. We can get you in. And I think it was while I was waiting to go to actual on base mental health, they sent me to behavioral health on base. And that lady was really awesome. She was able to talk me through a bunch of things. Um,
It's
but
great.
yeah,
That's really great. So it was when you got out of the pool, like where were you? Like what was the place where you started really thinking this and then you were like, this is the moment that I really wanted to fight for myself. Like
I
where
was
was that?
I was sitting in my truck.
Hell yeah. You were alone.
Um, yeah, I was alone. Sometimes it's one of the most damning places to be is alone. You could be in a room full of people and then you wind up somewhere else, or excuse me, a house full of people and you wind up in a different room. And then sometimes that's all it takes to just get right back into that headspace.
Yep.
But yeah, I was alone in my truck. I had called and talked to my wife because that was something that we always did. When I got out of the water, I got back in the truck, I'd call her back on my way back to work because it was my lunchtime swim. Um, and I just sat there and I talked to her and told her how I was feeling. And she was like, call mental health. And she already had the number on standby for me.
Mm, wow. She sounds like a great woman, a
Oh,
great
she's
wife.
so awesome. She is absolutely amazing.
That's really cool. Yeah, someone that fights for you like that and looks out for you, and you feel safe and comfortable enough to be vulnerable with her, and she doesn't look down on you, think you're less of a man or something like that. That's really special.
Oh, no. During that mental health journey for that year, I viewed my work environment as toxic. And
Hmm.
I think a lot of other people that I was with did as well. And it got to a point that I wasn't necessarily suicidal in that moment, but I got to a point where I was ready to not exist anymore. And
Yeah.
it kind of leached out. And then my wife started to kind of get in that headspace as well, where we were both just ready to not wake up. We just leaned into each other more while I was doing the mental health therapy. And ultimately it passed. Yeah.
That's really, really special that you guys fought through it together too. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So she's also in the military, you're saying?
She was. She did a few years in the Guard, then she went active duty. Her job was complementary to mine. When I would take all the munitions out to the flight line, her job was to take all the munitions and put them on the airplanes and then make sure that the aircraft and the weapon system was talking well to each other.
That's really cool. So you guys were literally partners in the military as well as now partners even in your marriage.
Yeah, I actually met her before I joined. She was already in. I went to go visit my sister at Keesler Air Force Base, and she happened to have a friend, and I was like, hey, hey. Well, she was more like, hey, hey, and I was like, I was a little aloof, kind of didn't really realize that she was into me.
That's cool. That's really cute. Yeah, I'm also like that. I don't realize I can't pick up on a lot of like social cues and things like that. It's difficult for me.
You.
Yeah, yeah. That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
So when you were going through all that, you guys fought through it together. It led you to this nonprofit that you guys help people out consistently. At least you are in the nonprofit helping people out
Yeah.
consistently. And tell us a little bit about the programming and everything you guys do with the nonprofit.
Okay. So Shields and Stripes, it's a 501c3. We were founded in 2021. Our co-founders are Dr. Jennifer Byrne. She's an Air Force veteran, and Stephen Nisbet. He's also an Air Force veteran. They saw a gap in the mental health treatment between the VA and the private sector, and like, we need to do something about this. So we utilize occupational therapy, strength and conditioning, nutrition. There's some mindfulness that we'll throw in there. And the biggest thing that we do is mental health sessions, and everybody gets two 30-minute one-on-one mental health sessions a day for 3 weeks in person, and then one group therapy session a week. And they'll have some other group activities that they'll do together. But during the mental health sessions, it's talk therapy and then EMDR. And for those that aren't familiar, it's eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And you can either do tapping, or you can have like hand buzzers, or you'll watch a light go back and forth. Or the one that I do with my therapist, she'll use your fingers and then go back and forth, and you just kind of follow. But you take the traumatic event and you think about the worst aspect of it, and then you do the eye movement, and then you think about it again and talk about that, and then you just keep kind of going down. It's my watered down way of describing it, but by the time,
Well, that is the process.
I mean, you can go from like a 10 down to a 2 or a 1 within a session, depending on how bad it is and how much work you're actually putting into the healing aspect. But
Sure.
we'll do that, and then after the 3 weeks in person is done, we'll send everybody home for 9 weeks of telehealth, where they follow up with one of our occupational therapists or physical therapists and our dietitian. And then they will follow up with their same mental health therapist for an hour each. And that's also where the family gets to come in and be a part of the healing process, so they can all heal as a unit going forward. After everything's all said and done, everybody gets enrolled into our alumni network, so that there is this group of individuals for them to lean into and have that sense of community and family. And then we also offer a 3 and 6 month follow-up post-program completion.
That's really cool. So tell me about the family part. That's something that really interests me.
That's one I'm not super duper familiar with, because it's more care team related. I'm not on the care team, but as far as I know, from the individuals that I've become friends with that have been through the program, they would follow up with the therapist, and then the therapist would say, "Hey, is your wife there, or your spouse there?" And then they would bring them in, and they would sit down and talk things out together. Like, "Hey, this individual's having whatever issues. What are you seeing at home?" I'm guessing that's kind of how it went with him. But yeah, the family gets to come in and learn and be a part of how to help the individual heal, which also helps them heal. And it becomes this awesome family strengthening dynamic.
How long does that last for? Is it one session, or I missed that part if you mentioned it?
So with the mental health the telehealth program with the mental health therapy, it's 1 hour for 9 weeks.
Okay. And that's with the
So
families?
yeah,
Very cool. 1 hour a week, 9 weeks. So that's 9
yep,
sessions.
9 sessions.
That's really cool. Is it structured where basically you're helping the family to understand their loved one that went through this program a little bit and how to work together, or is
Yeah,
it
that's a
working?
really
Okay.
good way of putting it. That's like perfect.
Okay. That's great. I think that's fantastic. I actually have a guy, his name is James Moore. He went through Refit as well, and he's actually looking to launch out a program where it's specifically a retreat program for families to go out on a retreat together.
Oh,
He's
that would
like,
be
"Hey,
great.
man, I'm kind of like taking the Refit model, and I want to put it towards like the family side." And I was like, "Bro, that's great. Like, what's something we're not going to get into? Something I was telling you, like, that's something we're not going to get into because that's a whole other animal. But I think it's very, very valuable." And
Absolutely.
he wants to take them out on retreats together so they can dig in together and understand each other. And
Yeah.
I really, that's so special because it's so important to get the family in together as a unit to really understand each other, understand their loved one that went through the things that they went through, and kind of like really just bridge a gap in communication, right? So there's no more question marks.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's really special, man. That's really, really cool. Have you, do you have a story that you witnessed a veteran and the family reconnecting in a special way that you were like, wow, like we really changed our lives and kind of like brought you into it deeper?
Um,
You don't have to mention names. Just, you can be very high level.
yeah, one of the guys went through, and initially it helped out I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't really want to get into his whole side of his journey.
Sure. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's good that
But
you
yeah, I've
watch
seen it help the
somebody go
families.
through it. Yeah, that's really cool. I feel like that's gotta be so gratifying, to watch a family become a tighter unit, right, together. Like, that has to be so special.
It is pretty special.
That's really cool. Man, that is I love the way that your program, the way that you guys work with the veteran for so many weeks and months at times it sounds like. And then you take that veteran, their story, you help them break it down and get to a point where one, maybe it's not going to affect them as much. And then number two, they can then bring it openly to their family. And then the whole family can then understand, okay, this is why you're acting this way, and maybe why you got mad at me and did these things or whatever. And hey, could you communicate with me this way in the future so that I can build that trust with you again, dad or mom? Right. Like, I think that is so, especially when kids are involved. I'm thinking about children at this point, but even for
Oh
the
yeah.
wife and the husband too, like that is such a, man, that's got to be wonderful. That's got to be wonderful to witness.
Yeah. The care team gets to see a lot more of that than I do.
That's okay. You're the one that
Oh
bridges
yeah.
the gap, right? Like, you're the one that gets them into it, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. So you're
I'm
on the,
totally okay with that.
coordination side?
Um, so I started off as an athlete advocate, as we call them. As an individual that is, we have in place. There's 2 athlete advocates for every program that we have, and they are there to be somebody for the members going through the program to talk to after hours. Kind of like the way you and I were talking earlier today. They're just there to chat and make sure everybody's doing good and kind of be an additional set of eyes for um, the therapist. I'm like, hey, we kind of noticed that we saw some behaviors that you might want to check out. And then I went into the donor relations side of the house, trying to solicit funds and things like that. Not super good at
Very,
it,
very important.
but just this past March, I had to sit down and talk with Steve, our president, and he's like, "Hey, I really like what you're doing. You've got a gift that I don't have," which I was kind of surprised at, and I enjoy talking to people. And he's like, "I kind of want to maximize on that and give you a title change, and then change your trajectory with what you're doing with Shields and Stripes, and we're going to make you the director of community engagement." So I wound up going to conferences now. I do a lot more talking to people. I work with first responder units, trying to tell them about Shields and Stripes. Like, there's the Santa Rosa County Sheriffs. I had been in talks with them, like, hey, this is the program. How do you guys feel about this? Everyone was like, man, this is awesome. I wish we had something like this. I was like, that's cool, because we eventually want to set up our own permanent facility somewhere in the Panhandle, and there's other locations that we're looking at as well. But that's when one of the sheriffs was like, "Hey," or deputies, excuse me, was like, "Hey, there might be this opportunity coming up. Let's see how we can capitalize on that." So I do stuff like that, and then ultimately the goal with having a permanent facility, we realized that a lot of the first responders can't get away for 3 weeks at a time. So maybe by having our own facility, it makes it so that they can come in 2 to 3 days out of the week over a longer period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. The schedules that first responders have to work with, especially like law enforcement and such, it's so it's all over the place.
Oh
They're almost always working. And they can't take too much time away from their missions at home, right? Their local
yeah,
missions for their communities. So that's really cool to, begin to plan that out and think about ways to make sure you can help them out just as well as, the veteran side of the house. That's really
yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
That's really awesome. So you guys also help out first responders.
We do. And that's excuse me. We've had law enforcement guys come through, firefighters, EMS. It's even open to dispatchers. Man, I'm sorry. So sinuses again.
Okay.
But yeah, it's amazing. especially when you think about the first or the dispatchers that are sitting there on the calls, listening to the individuals that are calling in on them, and then either the line goes dead or services show up and then they end the call and they're just sitting there like, oh man, I don't know what happened. Like they don't get a lot of closure. I will say that some of the states, Arizona specifically, because I went out there for a conference, the way they approach mental health for their first responders is amazing. They have these peer support teams that go out there. Like if they know it's going to be a really bad call, they go out there with the guys, fire, EMS, law enforcement. And then on the way back from it, they'll start doing debriefs. They'll start talking to them about everything that happened. That way, it's not just going from 100 miles an hour to nothing at the end of the day. And now you're sitting there with all these thoughts. And, you got to get back up and however long to go do it all over again. So
Right.
they have these peer support people that go out there and they're counselors, and they will start working with them right then and there. And if I remember correctly, they have that for their dispatchers as well. They will come back in and be like, they'll debrief the dispatcher and say, hey, this is what happened. This is everything that went down. The individuals are doing good. That way they've got some peace of mind and they're not just sitting there wondering and in their own head.
That is great. I love that. Immediately addressing the issue almost in a, it actually feels like a very natural process too. It's like, all right, like, dude, that was crazy, huh? Like, what are you thinking? And like getting a guy to talk to you right away, to again debrief, if you will, about the situation and what happened, as well as even for those dispatchers. That's something that we notice with dispatchers too, is that whole gap in communication of, like, I don't know what happened. Like my mind is going to race with the worst things that could have happened to that person. And now they know that, okay, that person's all right. They're getting taken care of. That's fantastic. That is a great program. That's really, really cool.
1 second. I got to respond to my wife.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's fine.
And I saw that Sarah Bonner was talking about a new rehab center being built where she lives. That'd be
Might
cool.
be a possible partner. Yeah. What is it, Sarah?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. Type away. Let me know.
Yeah, that's really, we get so many good, a lot of the people that jump in here, offer really good stuff sometimes. So this is a blessing. Um, but yeah, man, I do love that program Arizona started. That sounds fantastic. And it addresses that problem immediately and on the spot. I just,
Yeah.
especially with dispatchers, the same thing that you guys have found, everybody I think is beginning to realize is, I mean, dispatchers, they're on the other side of the call right from the
Oh, yeah.
beginning of whatever the call is. They're in that moment with those people. But, sometimes we've heard from dispatchers, like, I feel like it's like, I'm helpless. Like, what am I supposed to, like, yeah, I'm dispatching the guys out and everything, but I want to help them out too. And, they need to realize that they are helping by getting the first responders that would show up out there. So, and having a good closure to that, is so fantastic. So Sarah said, LifePoint Health is partnering with Centra in Lynchburg, Virginia. So yeah, take that note down. Maybe that's somebody you could definitely reach out to. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. So that is, man, that is special. That's really, really cool. Have you guys found yourselves, uh, when it comes to I guess when you're doing the clinical work, or the people that are doing the clinical work, do you guys ever partner with like retreat locations and like retreat partners and such as well? Or I think you mentioned something like that earlier, but take us through it here.
No, not so much on the retreat side. I do know that our alumni coordinator, she is going through the process right now of building everything up so that she can start getting everybody that's been through the program to come out to a retreat, or partner with somebody, or to be able to get these guys out there to have more interaction. I'm not entirely sure what she's got planned out, but I do know that she's working on stuff like that.
That's really cool. Yeah, retreats are so special. I'm happy to see so many nonprofits beginning to shift over to getting people out on retreats and reconnecting that way because I mean isolation as we know it's such
Oh
a
yeah,
killer and it's such a problem but when you get people out together and they get to reconnect again with like-minded folks especially if they've been through something similar even in terms of like a program like a therapy program man it's such a special thing you know it can really change a person's whole life because they know they're genuinely not alone. They have people they can reconnect with. So that's really special. You guys are looking into doing that and making that happen.
absolutely.
Yeah, I would be interested in talking to her too about like what they're thinking about how to have that happen. You know, and like I said, we have so many locations we can bring people out to, and uh, even if it's just a reconnection type thing, I think that'd be really cool to,
Dude, I
go
could,
down the rabbit hole.
yeah, I could totally try and set up an introduction between you guys.
Would love that. Would love that. We're actually talking to right now, very preliminary, but there's a Coast Guard unit that we're talking to about maybe getting some retreats going for this one sector in the Coast Guard, this one region, if you will, and doing retreats for them, for the guys that are coming in or people that are in or people that are leaving so that we can help them out along whatever part of the journey that they're on, within the military itself to keep them, operationally efficient and focused and understanding their own purpose and getting through whatever shit that they're going through together. Because there is something about that, you could say trauma bond or whatever, but there's something about that similar experience, that really brings a lot of value to the peer. So that's something I'm very excited about.
Yeah, yeah. Trauma bonding is it's an incredible thing. It definitely helps establish some relationships, or it has established some relationships that probably wouldn't have happened
That's
otherwise.
right. That's right. And it's interesting, especially if you treat it in a very positive way, how powerful it can be for sure. And yes, Sarah, Refit hosts lady only, female only retreats. And I'm sure, Brian, you guys do things for just ladies too.
I don't know what she's got going on, but she might.
That's cool. Well, I mean, just in general, you guys work with women, is what I'm saying. You guys work with female veterans.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Yep. That's really cool.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Um, Now that I'm actually thinking about it, and since Sarah said send me a message on LinkedIn, I have connected with Sarah on LinkedIn. I've actually got an organization that I want to hook you up with, Sarah. That the lady's name is Ginger Miller, and I'm going to blank. I'm going to try and look for it really fast.
As you're doing that, Sarah, we do have, all female only retreats at Project Refit hosts as well. We're hosting one in October, actually. And if you are interested in that, send us a message and we'll get you connected over to our female retreat leader. Her name is Monica. She's amazing. Monica is an absolute stud. And, it's October, I think October 22nd to, I want to say the 28th. It's a Wednesday to Sunday. And we are going to be hosting that and making that happen. So be on the lookout.
All right. It is the Women Veterans Interactive Foundation, and it's actually out on the East Coast. It's in Maryland.
Awesome.
Yes, they are. They just deal all with female veterans, and it sounds like it's an amazing organization so far.
That's really cool.
I just found out about it 2 days ago.
There's actually another one. I need to remember the name of it. I met the woman who runs it. She's a stud. She's doing a lot of really good work, but I think it's specifically for women who went through MST. And for those of you who don't know what that stands for, it's military sexual trauma. And she brings women out to Utah, to a ranch out in Utah that it is owned by a novelist, a very famous novelist, and she gets to bring them out to this very peaceful place and they get to work together and everything. So it's really special. I have to remember her name. And once I get it, I think I have it written down in our sheet for partners and things like that, people that we refer people out to. So I would definitely even, be willing to give you a connection over there, Sarah, if it fits your story at all. So just DM us, talk to Brian, talk to myself, and we'll see if we can get you in front of some cool organizations. And it sounds like it does connect. So if you want more information,
Yeah.
let me know. It's totally fine. And Jeff, yes, Monica is the shit. She is awesome. She's a go-getter, and absolutely all the ladies retreats would not be happening without her. So we're very grateful for her, and she's a great addition to the team and to Project Refit. So I'm very honored and feel very blessed to have her in our lives. But yeah, Brian, dude, do you have any we're coming up on that 1 hour mark that I promised we'd hit. And do you have anything you'd like to give?
I got nothing.
Nothing else? No learnings? Nothing that you really taken away at this point in your life? Or
man, trauma's like this ebb and flow, right? Some days it's just going to be this gentle wave coming onto the shore. Other days it's going to hit you like a hurricane, and best thing to do is just try and ride it out the best you can. And then once you get to a break in the wave, call out, ask for help.
I like it. Very, very cool. Yeah, don't forget that people are around you that are willing to step up and fight with you and for you. I think that's a great reminder and a great piece of advice. And yes, it really can come on in waves. And when that's happening, take a step back and try to just breathe and move a little bit slower. Try to slow your thinking down as much as possible. And
Yes.
things that I do for myself when I'm in that moment. If I ever feel like I'm getting overwhelmed, I actually really like cold showers or, putting my face in ice buckets, like that really helps me out a lot. So it recenters me and shocks my system into, relaxing again. So
Perfect.
yeah, it's something that works out really well for me. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
senses drill as well. Just take a step back. If you can remember to do it, you kind of look for 5 different things you can see, hear,
Great grounding.
smell, touch. Depending
Yep.
on where you are, you may not want to do 5 different things you can taste.
Right.
But,
Right.
just things like that.
Yeah, actually, that brings up a story. I know that works so well. We had a call that we jumped on. It was a guy that he didn't trust, I guess, anybody else, and he hit us up. He hit me up specifically, and I had to talk to him. And I literally, the first thing I did with him after letting him like talk to me for a little bit, I was like, "Hey man, could you just do me a favor real quick?" I was like, "You trust me?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right." I was like, "I need you to, where are you near a pillow?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, where's the softest pillow that you can?" I was like, "In another room. Go get it. Go walk to it right now." So I had him go walk to it, touch the pillow, right? I was like, "You got like an orange or something nearby?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Go bite into the orange. Just don't even peel it. Just bite into the orange real quick." He's like, "What?" I was like, "Trust me. Just go bite the orange." Bit the orange. And I was like, "All right, peel it up, peel it up." Then he started touching and feeling it, peeled it all off. I was like, "Have a couple of bites of that and then eat it." He ate it. And I was like, "All right, you got an apple nearby?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why are we doing this?" I was like, "Dude, just trust me." And he kept on going, and I had him do a bunch of shit. And then at the end of it, after 5 things, like, "Hey, what is this? What's this call about again?" And he was literally like, "I was struggling, but like I can't really remember fully some of the thoughts." It's like, "We just grounded yourself, bro. That's what we just did." I was like, "So what I want you to do now is I want you to call up, like who was it? It was either a psychologist or therapist, I forget which, but it was a couple of years ago. I want you to call them and I want you to try to set a meeting with them to get yourself ready and scheduled for that, okay?" And he's like, "Okay." And I was like, "Can you do it on the phone with me? Like we can do it together?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll 3-way you in." And I was like, "All right, cool." So 3-wayed it in and we made it happen, and he got set up with that person, and he made it through. But it was about, I just summed up a fucking like 2 hour, conversation, but I used that technique and it worked out super, super well.
That's
Sometimes
awesome.
I Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes I feel like it's hard for a person to do that alone. So it's good for other people to know that strategy really works. But what I found that works alone for me, if I'm like alone, I'm getting really overwhelmed and stressed out. Because my shit sometimes isn't even related to like a trauma or anything like that. It's literally just you know, I'm a kid that's a kid. I'm a guy that's a little bit on the spectrum. So like I have to like things that I'm wearing and stuff like that. I can't have certain fabrics on my body. So especially when I'm
Okay.
doing like, dude, what's hilarious? It's very funny. I have a wonderful, wonderful lady in my life, and she came home one day, and I came downstairs to get water, and my shirt was off, and she was like, "Are you doing paperwork?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to talk about it." And she's like, "No, it's okay. It's just funny. I just go ahead, get your water." Like I can't have like things on my body or whatever. So, because certain fabrics end up getting too scratchy or whatever for me, and it causes this like weird sensation pain. I can't explain it, but
No, I get it.
yeah, bro, it's wild. It's wild. And she immediately knew it was paperwork. But the cold showers is what really helps me when I'm going through something deep. Like I'm just like, bop, get me in a cold shower, put my hands under cold running water. I love cold. It really helps me out a lot. So,
Yeah,
yeah, getting that shock to your system. It's amazing what it does. It's wild. What's up,
absolutely.
Austin? Good to see you, brother. But yeah, man, have you ever done anything like that before when you're going through it? Like, jump in a cold shower or something?
No. Um, Unfortunately, usually when I'm going through something, I'm not in a spot where I could easily access cold water.
Interesting. Okay. So you're not at home when you're going through this shit.
Not all the time, no.
Interesting. Okay. That's wild. Man, that brings up like a million fucking questions, but
Music is
simply
huge for me.
music. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I love listening to some good fucking metal music and rock and roll, dude. Like especially metal though. I am all about that. I love that. But
My
what
favorite
what
genre is deathcore.
Oh, is it really? Who's your band? Who's a couple of your favorite bands? Because I know it's hard to pinpoint
One of
one.
my favorite bands is Left to Suffer. One of their guitarists, Pete Higgs, he's a fellow veteran. And then, yeah, I absolutely love them. Another one that I really, really love is Signs of the Swarm. They're a good one to go to. And then it's blackened deathcore, if you will, but it's a band called Of Ruin, and it happens to be my buddy's band, and he happens to be one of the guys that I went through my last retraining attempt with, and yeah, he made it. He's just cool dude doing awesome things, and but he's the guitarist or one of the guitarists for the band.
That's really cool, and it's of OV, correct?
Yeah, OV.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's that genre. I feel like it's like super misunderstood. The reason why I love metal
Oh
music
yeah,
so much and everything is because a lot of their music, it might be like pretty hardcore and like people see as sad or whatever, but there's also a really powerful message of like we can get through this shit, right? Like no matter
yes,
what, and I love that message. Like no matter what it is, we can get through this shit.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love that
Check
stuff.
out "Wash It Away" by The Ghost Inside.
I love Ghost Inside. I feel like I know. I feel like I know that song. It might be saved for me already. Yep, it is saved. So that is a great one. I also there's a song I'm going to give you that helped me
Okay,
through a really really rough time. Um, it is by Make Them Suffer.
I know. Make
Uh,
Them Suffer.
they're so fucking good, dude.
Oh,
Um,
they're going on tour with Fit for a King.
Yeah, yes, and they're gonna be in Philly. I actually hit a couple of my boys up. I was like, "Yo, you want to go?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's like deep enough in the schedule that we can make it happen." I was like, "Let's go!" So I think it's November they're gonna be there. So the name of the song is called "Save Yourself," and it's their album "Worlds Apart," 2017 album "Worlds Apart," and it's "Save Yourself." It
Okay.
is absolutely a banger. It's incredible. So the the part of the song, let me actually pull it up and read the lyrics real quick for you. So it just blasted in my ear. Didn't appreciate that. That's okay. Uh, all right. So he goes down here. All right. So he says, I've never been one to, you can literally read it. It's so good. So I've never been one to express myself so directly, more with imagery and symbolism, obscuring my faults behind a veil of metaphors and euphemisms. But just for one moment, I want to be honest, open, and honest. If we can't express ourselves directly and be prepared to expect negativity, then we'll surely crumble under the weight of our own insecurities. To search yourself and come face to face with your demons is terrifying. But if we can't face them, then how do we grow? How do we recover? Or know when we're wrong? And yes, it's okay to be wrong. And I have been wrong. And I am wrong. And this is me. And in all honesty, I'm not doing so well right now. But at least I'm finding the courage to face myself. Self deprecating? Maybe. Self absorbed? Maybe. Bravery? Definitely. I'm so sorry for all the pain and heartache that I've caused you. I just want you to be happy in life and come and watch from afar and admire you and every bit of joy and success that comes your way. I know this is for the best, but it's been the most difficult choice of my life. I did this for you, and knowing full well the consequences, this is me and my acceptance. All I ask is that you remember me as I walk away.
Nice.
Bro, tell me that shit's not strong, especially the part where he says, at least I have the courage to face myself. And if we don't face our demons, then what's the point? We're just going to crumble, right? I love
Absolutely.
that. I love it. Check that song out, bro. It's really good.
Oh, I definitely will.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good one. Dude, metal music is, it's fucking, it's everything to me, man.
It's
It was really,
therapeutic.
it is, man. It is. There's another good one called by Beartooth. I don't know if you listen to that kind of metal, but so
Oh yeah.
Beartooth, I love Beartooth. Might Love Myself is a really, really good song. You should check that out. Might Love Myself. So the reason why he wrote that and all of his new music actually that he produces, Caleb Shomo, him and Beartooth in general, a lot of the music that they're producing now is actually all like positive shit, strictly and only because he realized that he was being too negative and was really fucking him up in his life and everything because he was getting himself into something I love to talk about on here. And people probably who tune in and listen are sick of me saying it, but that's okay because it's a great reminder that the consistent thought patterns that you have, you will get stuck in those. So if you are constantly thinking negatively and constantly talking about the negative, you're going to constantly live in negative. So you have to get yourself out of that shit. So he's producing a lot of very positive music, and Might Love Myself is a great song to like, dude, you can play it on repeat. It's so good, especially when you're in a really bad place. You feel like yourself, you're getting into one. You put that
Yeah.
song on, and dude, it's so, oh man, it's so good. Like it's, I might love myself. I might love myself today, and that's a good thing. Like, let's go, dude. It's really, really, really good. So,
One
yeah,
more
I
song along those lines.
tell
Crap,
me.
if I can find it. Do you know the band Upon a Burning Body?
Of course, I know Upon a Burning Body.
My Distorted Reflection.
I may have listened to that before, but let me go save that real quick. Upon my burning body, and it's
Upon a
my,
Burning Body. My
yep,
Distorted Reflection.
got it. Saving it.
Yeah, check that one out.
Hell yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, dude. So, really, a really cool thing that happened. That I'm so beyond honored and grateful that we had this opportunity. So a band growing up that I love so much is called Slipknot. And Corey
Oh, I never
Taylor
heard of
is,
them.
I know, right? Corey Taylor, I read all three of the books that he produced like years ago. He might have more, I'm not sure, but I read all three of his books that he wrote, back in the day. And he really, like, his story and his overcoming and everything really helped me out in a lot of ways too. Especially when when I learned I wasn't able to, join the military. It really fucked me up for a while. That's something I wanted to do since I was 6 years old. Literally training. No joke. I was training since 6 years old to the end of high school when I destroyed my leg and I wasn't able to join. So it really fucked me up. But, I turned on my brain. I went to school, end up at, a pretty decent school going for my master's, ended up dropping out to start refit because I realized there's another way for me to fight, another way to enter the fight. And that's through the mental side. Right. So, and that's something that that's how I filled myself. Right. And I poured into myself and doing that, and that's starting Project Refit. So, it's no joke, man. When I fucking found out that I couldn't join because of my leg and because I couldn't run for fucking 2 miles, that excruciating, crippling back pain, and I can take pain like no motherfucking business, nobody's business. My doctors actually are still to this day. They're like, I don't know how you're fucking walking at this point. Which is really it's a testament to I think truly everything is mental and in many ways, and you really can overcome pretty much anything, no matter what it is. And I'm not talking about like, you can walk if you can't, if you shouldn't, or whatever. I'm saying just in general, everything is
Yeah.
mental, how you look at it, the outlook, all of it. Right. Any whoosies. So we had this opportunity to go for a grant from the Taylor Foundation, and the Taylor
Sweet.
Foundation donated to us. And bro, we just sent a couple representatives out there. Wade Rosnewski, one of the leaders in Refit, actually, arguably one of the co-founders of this whole fucking organization. But Wade Rosnewski went out there, he and his wife, and they were able to meet Corey and everything like that. I wanted to go so bad, dude, but I couldn't because I have a pregnant woman here at home, and I had to be
Oh,
with her. And
congrats.
thank you, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Kids are
But
awesome.
I know I cannot wait, brother. So anyway, so I wasn't able to go, but they went. They got to meet him, and I really hope one day I'll be able to meet him too. And the only thing I want to say to him is thank you. I was never able to do that, and like in person, not just like through a fucking video. Like I would love to
Yeah.
shake his hand, look him in the eye, and be like, dude, thank you. Like you helped me out, and that's it. Like just he's another man. I wouldn't look at him like he's a god or whatever. I don't look at anybody that way because no man or no woman is better than the other. They just have different purposes and callings. That's the way I look at life. But yeah, brother, it was such a cool thing to be able to get that from him. And a lot, just metal music means so much to me. That's the point of me sharing all of this. Metal music means a lot to me in my life. So I love that whole scene, brother. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's kick ass. Well, listen, dude, this has been a great conversation. Thank you for also getting vulnerable during this podcast as well and sharing your story a little bit with everybody. And, I hope it does help somebody out. I know it will one day. And I know you're using your story to help others right now. So that's something to be very proud of. And, man, thank you for everything. So I appreciate you. And I hope we can continue this journey together.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for having me on and let me talk about Shields and Stripes and
Absolutely.
share a story I've never shared this publicly before.
Dude, it's so kick ass and it's very important to do so. So thank you so much.